One of the things that is happening in the current workplace that will more than likely continue in the future is a lack of security in the job market. While it may have been common in past generations that you could find a secure job once you left school and stay in that position until you retire, it's certainly no longer the case. In fact, it's becoming so rare in recent times that most jobs, including and especially newer industries, don't have anywhere near the sense of security and longevity that people imagine they should have. Instead, what is happening in most industries is that workers do not have the security of having a long-term job, especially as the economy changes and different jobs undergo things such as automation and outsourcing to reduce costs. One of the changes in a lot of larger industries is a challenge of continual growth and making a profit. Larger industries are often called upon to change their way of doing business and change their products or services to keep up with the landscape of consumer and political needs and wants. This constant change can be very exhausting to workers who need to continually upskill just in order to still be relevant for whatever challenges their role might involve, and leads to change fatigue, whereby every day means being more and more emotionally drained. While some positions may be safer than others, particularly higher level areas such as managers and decision makers, there are no guarantees that any position, particularly jobs that depend less on creativity and more on manual grunt work, are safe. Employees may be targeted by organisations that demand efficiency over the human touch. The idea of losing a job to automation is becoming very real and a scary prospect to many people, as AI may soon overtake receptionists and helpline workers, and driverless cars and robots take over from roles like couriers and store people. How then can schools keep up with this challenge? How can schools make sure that they are not teaching students how to live in a world that no longer actually exists? Are we teaching our children to have an attitude to work that assumes a level of security that no longer applies? For example, asking kids, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" as though that will be their one and only career. There is a saying that the best way to predict the future is to create it. If students are used to the rapid pace of change and can embrace it as a way of life and a way of approaching work, then they will be better equipped to cope with the rapid pace of change in the workforce. Similarly, most people tend to cope better with change if the change is seen as logical, reasonable, and it's in their best interests. They are also more than likely in those situations to take the change further and incorporate it more into their daily lives. If people truly do see their lives with a growth mindset, then they're more likely to not only embrace change, but to also take control of it and see ways in which change can become a positive influence in their lives. One of the hallmarks of the constant change and shifting economy in countries like Australia and around the Pacific is the occurrence of the gig economy, where companies are more than likely to employ people on a more casual or contracted basis to complete specific projects and gigs. While companies will still employ a mostly permanent staff, it's becoming more and more common to outsource work both privately and corporately to other areas, especially in areas that require more innovation and creativity in technology and in designing solutions. The responsibility for employees, then, is to have as wide a range of skills as possible, to allow for them to be as prepared for the changes that may come. Certain broad-level skills, such as dealing with people, planning, managing time and resources, are broadly applicable to a lot of different situations that they face, including looking for work when necessary and networking with others to achieve their goals. At the same time, employees need to take charge of their own learning in their own industry so that they can be familiar with the current trends and possibly even predict the future trends of the market that they work in. Having a good systems knowledge is helpful in this, especially regarding how general business principles influence the way the business operates, as well as understanding how to pitch and sell themselves to take advantage of job opportunities as they come up within their industry. It's important that we teach young people growing up how the current workforce operates. We can't just sell people on the idea that they will find a job and then a career if that is no longer how things actually occur. The average person will have 17 different jobs over 5 different industries in their lifetime. The transferable skills that we teach at school need to be explicitly taught as such, so that students can recognise them and understand the value that their skills have in the coming workforce. We need to teach students to not be afraid of failure anymore, and that failing at a test is actually an incredibly important skill for them to learn, as how to fail properly and as how to get the most out of it. We need to help them to see their schooling as a toolbox with the necessary equipment that they need for when they grow up, and give them the confidence to be able to use each of those skills in the profoundly different environments that they find themselves in. It's been noted that most of the jobs that the young people of today will end up doing in the future haven't even been created yet. If that is the case, then we can't reasonably tell young people how to respond to the future of work, let alone education. We can only give them the broadest range of skills necessary and make sure that they are as well prepared as possible, both educationally, psychologically, and emotionally, to deal with anything that comes along. That's something I wish they taught me at school.